Okay, everyone, so today we're actually going to be ordering fractions either from least to greatest or greatest to least. So today we're actually going to be practicing how to not only find the common denominator, but how to list the fractions from least to greatest or greatest to least. So let's look at our first example. Here I have a half, 3 over 4, and 4 over 6. So in order for me to be able to order these fractions, I have to see if all the denominators, if all the denominators are the same. If they are the same, I am able to list them either from least to greatest or greatest to least. Now, in this example, my denominators are different, so I need to find the lowest common denominator and change the fractions to show the same denominators. So I have to show that all three share a common denominator or the same denominator. Now I'm going to be looking at 2, 4, and 6 because they are my denominators. So off the top of my head, I might not be able to see what the common denominator is. But so one strategy, okay, that we could do to find the common denominator would be to list all the multiples of each denominator. So let's go ahead and list all the multiples of 2. Then I have 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. Then I have 6 and 12. Am I done? No, I'm not even halfway done. From my list, I know that 12 is the common multiple, least common multiple. So that means that I am going to be writing or rewriting my fractions with a common denominator of 12. So these are the steps to order from least to greatest or greatest to least. Remember, we're ordering fractions. So step 1 is to find the common denominator. So we're finding the common denominator. Find the common denominator. If denominators are different. Now, if they are not different, and if they're all the same, then you're able to order them from least to greatest, without having to do all these extra steps. Step 2 would be to rename or rewrite. Rename fractions. With a common denominator. So let's look at how to do that, which we've already practiced how to do that, if I'm not mistaken. So let's look at 1/2. So we know that our common denominator was, so our common denominator was 12. So therefore I'm going to be writing a fraction with a denominator of 12. So this is considered to be an equivalent fraction. So how did I get 2 to increase to 12? Well, I multiplied by a certain factor. So 2 times what will give me 12? Well, 6. So 2 times 6, 1 times 6. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. It's a rule in math. Based on time, I will not go over it. But just know that whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. And the same thing goes to whatever I do to the top, I do to the bottom. So my new fraction is 6 over 12. My equivalent fraction to 1/2 is 6 over 12. I will do the same thing with 3 over 4. 3 over 4 will be equal to a new fraction with a common denominator of 12. How did 4 convert into 12 or increase to 12? 4 times 3. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 3 times 3 is 9. And last but not least, I have 4 over 6. That will be also set equivalent to another fraction with a denominator of 12. 6 times 2 is 12. 4 times 2 is 8. Now I have 3 new fractions with a common denominator of 12. 8 over 12, 9 over 12, and 6 over 12. Now we're only focusing on the new fractions that we have rewritten. We're not focusing on 4 over 6, 3 over 4, or a half. So let's pretend that we're ordering, okay, order from least to greatest. If I order from least to greatest, now I can easily look at the new fractions, the new equivalent fractions, and be able to see which is the fraction with least value. It is 6 over 12, correct? So when we're listing them from least to greatest or greatest to least, you're not going to write the new fraction, the equivalent fraction. You're going to write the original fraction. Again, you're not writing the new fraction, you're writing the original fraction. So here I'd write a half. I'm done. Then I'm going to look at the last two, 9 over 12 and 8 over 12. Well, which is greater? I mean, which is less, excuse me. 8 over 12. So again, I'm not writing the new fraction or equivalent fraction. I'm writing the original fraction, which is 4 over 6. And then, last but not least, 9 over 12. And I will do the same thing. And it's 3 over 4. So today it will be very simple. You do not have to do much. So please rewatch the video if you need to. Tomorrow I will add another video going over the steps again.